Hi everyone, Patrick Wagner here for Digital 100. This is episode number 14, and today I'm talking about some exciting news from Google in regards to some security stuff. So, as you know, in a previous episode, I think it was episode number 3, called 2FA Explained, I went over some of the options for 2FA and how 2FA works in general, so two-factor authentication, and how it's a minimum standard that people should be using on all of their security, all their logins and their emails. And the reality is that 2FA is probably not the most secure standard, that a physical key or something like Google Authenticator is what a lot of people end up using. But Google, back in 2016, made a switch from any type of authenticator code to their own physical devices. And so today I'm showing you Google's new titanium security key. And as you can see, this is a physical key. This one over here on the left actually has a Bluetooth, so it works on a cell phone. And the one on the right is a USB plug-in, and you just tap on it and it sends a code and verifies with the server. So unlike 2FA, that can be stolen and can be used, this actually forces physical security. The most exciting part, and the part that got me to really want to make this video today, was the fact that when I read the details, and Google said that over 2 years they have not had any compromised accounts on their corporate side. So everybody at Google Corporate uses one of these devices to access all of their mail and their systems. And because of the use of this key, they have actually had no compromises of those accounts. I don't know, but that's extremely rare. I'm sure there's been a few, but if there hasn't, that's what the stats show. So it's exciting. It means that you have to do this. This is not an optional, it would be nice thing to do. It means you need to be doing this. Now there's a bit of an extra reason, for Google at least. On the back end, they've launched their cloud platform. And in that cloud platform, they've added their own chip called the titanium processor. It helps provide hardware-based root trust of the actual server, is what the server is, that it's healthy, that it hasn't been compromised. And so they're going to use that along with this titanium secure key to ensure that security for anybody using their cloud platform. So that's kind of where all of this comes from. And that's why they're now launching this as a product that will be launched, I think, for the cloud platform and then for consumers to be able to use. There are options right now available for this. And I just dropped it. But this was the stat that really got me. Because I use Google Authenticator all the time. And it's a big part of what I teach to folks as well to be secure. And so when I looked at these statistics, it really kind of made it simple for me. So U2F, which is that key that we're talking about here. Let's take a look. That's the UB key. Versus Google Authenticator. They found it's 4 times faster of a login, significant fraud reduction, and significant less support. And I think that was a big factor for Google Corporate in making their decision to go to the physical device side rather than use Authenticator. So us average Joes have been using Authenticator, but the reality is for any kind of minimum security, you really do need to be using these U2F physical devices. So I'm going to go over some of the options that are available. And this one, so the website is ftsafe.com. And this looks like the company that makes that product. Either they're bought by Google already, or they're in the process of it. But you can take a look at their products. They have ones that obviously plug in. There's ones that are NFC and also Bluetooth compatible. Ones that plug in directly into your cell phone as well. So there's lots of options here. A lot more than I knew about, to be honest with you. I think a lot has changed over the last 12 months alone in the industry. So there's many options, and they start for as low as $17 all the way up to $500 for custom high-end solutions. But the reality is you should have one of these physical devices. Now that Google's kind of come out with the stats, it's faster, it's safer, it's better. One of the ones also you can look at is a YubiKey. This is one of the ones there that's like cheap off of Amazon. I use this when I'm on Twitter. That guarantees that no one else can be logging in using my password and key. So what ends up happening is when I authenticate this with whatever the server is, so in this case, let's say Twitter, it actually shares a PGP key and the encryption codes so that it has a copy. So when I plug this in, it actually is able to unencrypt that, and it actually works on a fancy integer. And as long as that integer is higher, it allows you to go in. So the reality is that you're sharing some keys with the authentication server, so they're only verifying whether they can unencrypt and whether that payload is correct. If that's correct, they log you right in. So you don't need to type anything in as long as you have this. This on its own, on a time-saving basis, is, gold. And I think that's a big one right here. So big on security, big on productivity, a big time saver, and a must for everybody. So take a look at these products. They have a great online store, and I recommend checking it out. I'm going to buy a whole bunch and start testing them as well on our show here. One other thing I wanted to cover was Facebook. Now, Facebook has been really dumped on hard over the last 24 hours after releasing poor sales results, simply because of a lot of the negative information that kind of came out during that Cambridge Analytica scandal. I think that really pulled back a lot of advertising dollars. But the reality is, like I mentioned in my previous videos, that Google's F8 conference this year really released a lot of fantastic products that address those issues, as well as doubling down on Facebook Live for Business and the tools required to help businesses use Facebook better. So I think Facebook is still the right area to be doubling down. So I'm going to say it again. Even though the news is bad, I really think you should have a Facebook presence. I really think you should be building your community on Facebook and then taking advantage of the new advertising opportunities that are available. And don't worry about the news that's out there. Just focus on looking at the opportunity of getting in front of quality people for your business. And then the last thing I want to do is just talk about some security when crossing borders. And one of these things is, as a Canadian crossing over into the United States, and a lot of people travel into the United States and abroad, what we're finding is the border agents are now having more and more access to your digital devices. I'm sure in some cases they can not only look in your device, but actually log into the device and pull out files. So a lot of people are now saying, and some privacy commissioner on our side has said, listen, don't travel across the border with your digital device. It's not safe. And I think that really screams out to folks when they're traveling, especially in the crypto sphere, or if you have a digital business and you have multiple devices and you're traveling. Trying to understand how to protect that information, what's the right way to travel so that you don't have to worry about being stopped by Border Patrol agents, having them check your data, or possibly scan your devices. We're going to go over this topic a little bit more because it's important to me, and I think it's something that more and more folks are running into and encountering out there. So I'm going to interview some folks that do a lot of traveling as well and do a lot of their business fully digital. So they're going to tell us a little bit about what helps them. So keep that in mind when you're traveling. Don't take your digital devices with you. Keep everything safe. And I think take a look at this YubiKey today and take a look at the website. I'll add the links at the bottom. Make sure you take that next step above 2FA. And I think it'll be a huge difference, not only in your productivity, but in your ability to sleep at night and feel safe and know that no one else is hacking into your account or has access. So go for it. Take a look at it. Look at the links down below. Subscribe to the channel and send me any questions or comments. I'm on Twitter at Patrick Wagner. Thanks very much, guys. Have a great day.